lot to be positive about.
The magic of television. Away we go for the second half then. 45 minutes this evening, 90 more from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. You'll see the rest of these two squads in action on the Fifth Stand app. In terms of win, lose, draw. Well, this is more of a contest now. Here's Alonso. Now Sterling. That's just pulled away, wanting a little bit of space off Messina there. Good first touch from Mason Mount, beaten out by Silvestri. Chelsea on the front foot, straight from kick-off in this second half. Spilicueta and Havertz combining. Storming forward.
Yeah, not quite delicate enough pass there from Zoizar, but again, great attack, pushing forward as we spoke in the first half, Ben. Really getting into the game as quickly as possible, Chelsea. Superstar.
As expected, players will be getting more minutes in their legs tonight than you'll have seen at any point thus far in the pre-season outings. Havertz taking on Messina. Messina staying strong. Job done.
He's fallen awkwardly on his arm. That's not a good sign. Landed on his shoulder, perhaps.
This time last year that happened to Ziyech, didn't it? He had an absolute worldie in the Super Cup and innocuously smashed his shoulder up. We didn't see him for a while, and he does look in pain down there. And as you can see now, the medics are on, and the referee, in fact, is going to stop the game.
He's half on and half off, isn't he? So this could be a serious injury, which I hope it isn't. Well, he's got his arm up now.
Don't yank him off by the arm.
But I don't think they'll take any chances. Just coming together here.
Well, it's because he's got hold of it.
Yeah, he's landed on it as well, hasn't he? This is the ball in a few moments ago. Good height to the goalkeeper, good pace on it. Lovely little pass again. Been impressed with Jorginho getting into good positions higher up the pitch, Ben. You know, we've seen him get into those positions and he's able to make those cute little passes.
That is Lazar Samardzic who's come on there, so we're not going to see any more of Delafeu, which is probably a good thing. The youngster they brought in from Leipzig last summer, Lazar Samardzic, for their second half. Maybe it's Thomas Tuchel.
I think the good thing is he pushed himself up there using his arms rather than the medical staff lifting him up, which obviously they didn't want to do, but it looks like he's okay, which is a good sign. I was worried when players go down a little bit awkwardly.
Thiago Silva went down a couple of times in that first half, but seemingly fit and firing to continue in the second. Here he is. Another unbelievable season. 48 times most all of them starts last season. Heavy workload as ever. 63. All around Europe. Same tally actually as Liverpool. And, clubs anywhere on the continent with the most games. Chelsea left 63 matches across the competitions.
Well, that tells us we're doing well in cups, doesn't it, Ben? You know, you get the extra games. And hopefully the squad's going to be big enough and strong enough this season to cope with that many again.
Do you think that people downplay that a bit sometimes, or maybe don't take into account the real maths of it? You're a Premier League club and you're not in Europe. You can get knocked out early in both cup competitions. You'll play 40 games. 63.
Yeah.
It's not hard. That's more than 50% more football. Conte to Alonso. Here's Mount. There are 4 in the box again. Whip on it. Too much on it from Mason Mount.
Do you know what? As a player, if you're playing with Mason Mount, that's what he's good at. That is such a decent delivery. I think you just need to be reactive, be the man in the middle that's got to be reactive to where Mason's going to deliver the ball. I think it's a great ball in.
again. Sneak his pass through that time.
He'd be disappointed with his pass there. Koulibaly's made a great run after winning the first header as well.
Had to double check that was him then. Filled in for him, and Brandon Soppy moaning here.
Went on a Tony Rudiger run, didn't he? Yeah.
Thiago Silva. Nice. Not to Mount. Just let him down his touch there, but Alonso's got it back. Mason is still down.
Not sure if he had his foot stood on. I think that's what he's... Just slows down for a moment or two. Initial pain, but it'll wear off.
In those 63 matches, only Mendy and Thiago Silva played more minutes than Mason Mount. Nice turn. Spilicueta into Conte, who didn't play quite enough. It's a lovely turn, and it was nearly another lovely goal.
Super turn. His touch and his control, his tight control in tight areas is excellent from N'Golo Kante. Just tries to steer this one in, forces Silvestre into a decent enough save. I don't know if he's quite popping in, but goalkeeper wasn't sure either. Defending was poor.
That was, pre-season defensive work from Wallace. It made N'Golo's turn look maybe a little bit better than it was. Not that it was bad. Here is Alonso delivering deep. Sterling filtering round the back. It's taking some getting used to, Clive, seeing him in this shade of blue. At least he can't score against Chelsea anymore. He got a tidy habit of doing it in the paler shade.
Well, I think we'll be looking forward to him scoring more goals, Ben, because if he's going to ride his luck like he did for the goal he scored tonight, he'll take that all day long.
Scored 4 times against Chelsea as a City player. Rather pleasingly, he scored 8 times against both Arsenal and Tottenham. Here's Reece James. Not for long though. Udogie did his job. Such a half-decent game with Udogie in there. Wallace again.
That's what I mean about us pressing high. You know, when we've got bodies forward and the ball doesn't get delivered, we don't give it up. All of a sudden we're now pressing even further forward and they give us the ball back. And I think that's something that's slightly changed from last season. You know, perhaps before you'd see Jorginho further advanced and N'Golo Kante further advanced, but the first reaction if you lose possession high up the pitch is to get back into position. We're actually not doing that.
Mount and Alonso, that combination, those two and Kai Havertz, between the three of them, a lot of those give and goes right from about the 7th minute when that first chance was. Mason Mount suggesting he was fouled here.
There's an arm across his chest. I think Soppy's lost control of where the ball actually is. Loses sight of it. There's an argument for it, but you wouldn't get that very often, I don't think.
You'd be annoyed if that was given against you.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I always try and balance these up in my head. If that was the other way.
Yeah, you'd say it was soft if it was the other way.
Good first touch. Company as well, he was there. N'Golo Kante. Just about held on to it that time. Mount to Sterling, back towards Mount, congested, but Raheem Sterling's got it again. Good pass. Take to Mount, Havertz, Sterling, back heel. It was on, and he went for it.
Yeah, his first touch lets him down in many ways. He knows he's going to have to turn, but tries the back heel, doesn't quite work.
Meanwhile, here comes Destiny Udogie. They can't pass there. They made a right mess of that. That was a really promising situation. They just let Chelsea get back. It was nearly a cheeky goal to add to the fortunate one.
Yeah, you have to say in some respects as well, the ball in by Kai Havertz is bobbling. It's not an easy one. Should have been sweet and clean along the floor. Maybe Raheem could have done more with it. But once he's had his first touch, it was always on, wasn't it, to try and steer a back heel through someone's legs. Seen that happen before recently.
Yeah, he'll have to get in touch with Russo, just United. Through the legs of the Chelsea keeper, that was. Now, Pereira, and then Success, and then Thiago Silva. He's always there. He's always there.
Just reads it so well, doesn't he? Okay, sometimes it's easy to see from the distance where we are, Ben, but you know, you'd have to say from where he is, he can read it over a short space of time. This is a good run.
Great acceleration and a play.
Rugby tackle.
Adam
One game.
Messina.
I think we can honestly say that would have been a yellow card under normal circumstances.
Well, I think at this rate, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Andreas Sotil could be punching 7 bells out of one another and get away with it with this referee. That's
a great rugby tackle.
I mean, it's a lovely bit of acceleration and body usage there from Kai Havertz is ridiculous. Well, I mean, that...
You feel sorry a bit for the referee.
He's just saying, please, please, but I mean, that's ridiculous, so that people can do that if they're running through on goal then. You can't do that.
No.
It has to be a deterrent. Chelsea robbed of a counter-attack by the most unsubtle challenge you'll see anywhere. Hunter's been robbed by Wallace, but he's still got a piece of it back. Wallace didn't wait for the rugby tackle that time from Messina. He offloaded in time. Jorginho, for once, he's come back there. Nice, really nice. Mount hurdled the challenge there. On another day, maybe with points on the line, you might have thought about going down.
Good bit of football though, Ben, isn't it? Again, the passing's excellent, the running off the ball's decent. Just need that little bit of space, that little bit of luck sometimes, maybe to give you an opportunity to get the shot away. You know what Mason's capable of.
Sterling. Lovely acceleration, but there's no one in the middle. There go the brakes, headed out by Beal and Alonso. And Havertz would have been offside anyway.
Yeah, it would have been. I think it was going wide as well, but it's a decent strike by Alonso. It's not on his right foot. We've seen him maybe take shots on the floor, but on the volley, on your weaker right foot, that's decent.
Sterling go from 0 to 60 and then 60 to 0 there.
He did. Let's hope we're going to see a lot more. I mean, it's quite exciting to see him play like that, to see him have that ability. We saw him in the first half where he did great little turns on halfway and then accelerated away from players and they can't get near him. And to see him do that, like you say, 0 to 60 and 60 to 0 in a blink of an eye, fabulous to watch.
He's having a really busy game. Mason Mount is another who's looking like this is anything but pre-season. Meanwhile, Pereira always going to fall here for Success, who really doesn't have the name quite in keeping with the level of Success, let's be honest, because he doesn't score a lot. He didn't for Watford. He only got 2 for Udinese last season, and that's a poor finish. He's pulled it.
Yeah, he has. Do you know what? I think he might be offside. There was a touch there as the ball came through. And I think he might have just been offside. However, the shot's a poor one, it goes wide. Didn't even test Mendy. Again, who lifts the crowd, and that's what they want.
Just thinking how many Man City goals you've seen over the last few years where maybe a David Silva and a De Bruyne have found Bernardo Silva or Sterling and they've done that byline breaks on.
Yeah.
Put it across the middle and there is like, well, Sterling or Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden or something and tap it in.
They've all got that in their locker, haven't they?
It's just such a Man City manoeuvre and something we wanted to see more of, I think, in the last couple of seasons is actually Chelsea getting to the byline and cutting it back. And those, I'm thinking home games against maybe less fancied opposition where it's tough to break them down, not getting to the byline very much, felt like a theme to me.
Yeah, I think there's different ways of looking at it, and I think from Thomas Tuchel's point of view, you can understand, you know, he's probably, his remit is to get closer to the the Liverpool and Man Cities of this world, and he's got to find a way, and this is maybe his way of breaching that gap. And can he do it? We'll have to wait and see, but you know what, I've seen enough tonight to suggest that there's something there for us. It's from the other games, I look at this one and I go, well, do you know what, here we are, 60 minutes into the game, certainly by far the better side.
Here is Sterling again, deflection, oh, so close. Danger not over. Mount. N'Golo Kante, tonight's sharpshooter. Jorginho. N'Golo, for the third time, has a pop from 20 yards.
Well, I know I said it before, Ben, but when you see Jorginho and N'Golo Kante this high up the pitch, terrific strike again by Raheem Sterling. A little deflection, takes it onto the post. A little bit of good fortune. I don't think the goalkeeper was getting there. But again, we see Jorginho, 5 yards away from the edge of the penalty area, linking up with N'Golo Kante on the edge of the box. I mean, that's super to see. We haven't actually seen that too often in the last couple of seasons. Often you say one go, one stay, but at the moment, it's about being brave. We often say that, be brave on the ball and off the ball, but you can be brave when we're all up there and all in possession. You've got to say that law of averages, the ball's going to drop to a blue shirt.
Yep, there's more of them in there. Half an hour or so to go here. Mount delivers the corner towards Thiago Silva, who for a minute was extremely interested in that. I think Cena and Beale between them got enough on it.
It's good defending, to be fair. We've seen Thiago Silva get into those positions numerous times, and Mason Mount delivery as well. Good ball in, decent clearance.
Foul throw there. You missed one, Clive.
Glad you said it. I don't like to say it every single time, Ben.
Rhys James was half over the line. Never mind behind it. Success. Strong and athletic. We've seen finishing. It's a bit of work tonight. Soppy pops it forward. Barely seen Lazar Samardzic since he came on. There he is. Now Makengo. He's behind you. Kai Havertz was there. Great work rate from the young German.
Do you know what? And the pass that didn't come in was why he got tackled. That's a foul. Referee didn't think so.
No, I think this referee's from, say, the mid-70s. In some ways, it's quite refreshing. Maybe that's why Mason Mount didn't go down. He thought there's no chance this bloke's giving that.
I'll give you mid-90s, Ben. I'm not giving you mid-70s. Trust me.
See what he would have done with the Leeds Cup final. That's fine.
Play on.
Makengo. Chances created, you can't believe Chelsea aren't. Well, 3 goals up. I don't think that would be flattering. It's only one.
I just wonder how much the heat is playing in it. Talked about no substitutes for Chelsea yet. 1 or 2 warming up now as expected, but 64 minutes in and the heat will have its effect, but also the pace of the game. You know, we worked hard, for me, with the ball, which is great to see. And sometimes you say you work hard off the ball because the opponents have got plenty of possession, but we've had a lot of possession. You have to work hard to keep the ball as well.
Harvey Bell, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Emerson. Just got a shot off there. Alonso. Job done, Brandon Soppy. And I would think, even with modern levels of fitness techniques and modern fitter players, that when you haven't had 65 minutes even up to this point, which no one on this field in Chelsea Blue has until now, feeling it a bit, do you think?
Yeah, you're going to feel it, for sure. But
Or would that be more tonight or tomorrow? Or
no, you'd be feeling it in the game, but there's a point for the manager that a player has to be pushed a little bit harder. But the player knows how he feels, so there will be communication between the players and probably the medical staff. If a player's feeling it, they'll say, you know what, give me another 5-6 minutes and make the change then. But they'll all want to play on, of course they will.
It's James. Seen that many crosses from him. There's that nifty little cutback from Mount in the first half, but speaking of getting it wide, bylines and all that. Herrera, you see the strength of success. He does that stuff pretty well. That's the finishing touch he's never really had. Continued his run here. Koulibaly on the cover. That'll do. So will that. The assistant referee there has signalled a foul. A success after Koulibaly went down quite early. They both go down, but success just hanging on to Koulibaly, allowing him to get back up and on the ball. What do you think the assistant referee can get that one from 2 yards away? Mendy's just had another touch, Ben. That's a rarity. Sterling keeping hold of it well.
You've got to remember as well, Udinese must be feeling it, the weather, the lack of possession.
Yeah, they've done more of the chasing, a lot of it of Mason Mount here. Oh, that was a sweet idea. Havertz! Well, Sterling was the initial attempted recipient.
It's offside though. It's a good save by Silvestre. Really is a good reaction. That can't be offside. It's come off the defender, hasn't it?
Shouldn't have been. You're right. Absolutely. Bram Neuting, that is, Dutch defender. Been at this parish for a very long time. Just started his 6th season, actually. Part of the furniture, very much liked here, and replacing a new player in that department, Biol, who they've just signed. I think actually looks half decent. Slovenian international. Biol, just got him. Actually confirmed the signing earlier today with a couple of players who are on their bench. Udinese, so straight in. And Neuting's given it straight away to Mason Mount, who went unselfishly for the pass, and I bet now he's thinking, oh, I should have pulled the trigger.
Isn't that a strange one? You know, he's run really well with the ball there, Mason, and got himself in two minds because Sterling's in such a good position, but the defender gets across. Should have been a goal.
Might be now anyway. Littlest head in the box, puts it over.
I think he's still cursing the one before there, Raheem Sterling. Don't think it's the header he's too concerned about. Another drinks break though, Ben, at this stage.
I normally make a little note of the chances that might have been, and I actually stopped doing it a while ago. There have been a lot in this game, you know, between them, Sterling and Mount, Havertz and N'Golo himself. There have been plenty of goal-scoring opportunities here. Slightly sharper finishing boots.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be a positive. Yeah, we always want to see as many goals as possible. But Thomas Tuchel will be saying to you, do you know what, we've played really well. The passing between the lines has been good. We've been having runners who've run in behind to drag players out of position. Yes, it's not been absolutely 100% clinical, but it's a creativity that we've seen, and I feel, we spoke about it during commentary, you know, the two central midfielders in N'Golo Kante and Jorginho, just playing a little bit higher up the pitch, you know, having no fear of the fact that they've got to get back. Just saw a few moments ago, there was the last opportunity, I think the success had the shot for Udinese. Jorginho was struggling to get back in the build-up when they had the ball. We know that. We know that's going to happen. But I think what Thomas Tuchel may be saying, I'm quite willing to accept that. as long as you're doing the bit where you're joining in the groups going forward and playing that little bit higher at the pitch. Don't worry about what's going on behind you. I'll deal with that. I'll get our defenders getting back into position. So he may be gambling on us being possibly that more adventurous side and taking one or two more gambles.
It's always interesting to see, isn't it? When you get a new season and it's not a new man in charge, and like this with essentially the same group of players, yes, one or two additions so far, is do you like what you did and keep doing it? What do you take and go, okay, I've worked with them for a good year on this now, so now I'm going to introduce the next bit. He's going to introduce Harvey Vale, Callum Hudson-Odoi here, and Emerson as well. But that is, I'm curious as to whether that is Conte and Jorginho just reading this match situation and thinking, actually, I think we've got this covered, we'll go a bit more. It's Tuchel going, actually, I want more of that from you, both tonight and in general.
Well, for me, watching what we've seen, I'd have to say that Thomas Tuchel's had a little word in Jorginho's ear and said, how can we improve you as a player? He's been really good, he's been fabulous, but there's got to be always that element of surprise or room for improvement in every single player, something that players don't see, that managers see, and that's their job, to bring out the best of players. Can you just get that little 5% more out of Jorginho? I think he's getting it tonight.
You're absolutely right, though. They look higher, and of course, if they're higher, they are occupying people. That means others can do stuff. It's a fairly simple math. Harvey Vale on here, and Emerson back in Italy.
Yeah, I think it's always been that worry of what happens behind those two midfield players. But if your back line's pushed up higher, the space is less anyway. But it's about getting it right. It's about working constantly together on the training field, constantly in these pre-season games, which it looks like to me tonight we're bearing the fruits of that. Something's been happening and the players are taking it on board.
Yeah, maybe a couple of weeks into the season when it's Kane and Son and Richarlison are those attacking players who are maybe being allowed that potential space. Maybe you don't do it so much, and it's horses for courses, but it's definitely something they've been doing tonight.
Well, let's wait and see, because if it works for us, it's another feather in the cap of Thomas Tuchel.
So that would come into the realms of the tweak from one season to the next. It's not, do you know what I mean? It's not like he's going to suddenly go, right, I'm playing 4-2-4 from now on. It's not going to change that. Pereira delivers. Thiago Silva with the header. Just trying to have a look here. We'll see when, more clearly, when Chelsea are up the field and have the ball. Exactly the role of Hudson-Odoi, speaking of shapes. Harvey Vale is... Yeah. Emerson has gone in, where we have seen him just once or twice actually playing in the back three. Not very often at all. Him and Alonso have both done it a couple of times when needed. Hudson-Odoi looks like he's the right wing back, with Reece James having gone off for Emerson. Alonso staying left.
Yeah, that's how it looks. Yeah, Hudson-Odoi in a position he probably relishes as well.
He's had a few goes there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he'll look forward to playing there.
He's up high here. In fact, when he was first getting game time, when Tuchel very first came in, Callum Hudson-Odoi was starting a lot of games, and he was starting them as the wing-back.
Yeah.
To the point where we were saying that in a few years' time we might be talking about that's when it started. You never know whether people stay there or not, as it happens with him. That didn't happen, and he started playing further forward again last season. But here he is again in that role. He'll take whatever he can get, to be honest. Game time is game time. If you're centre-back or centre-forward. Jorginho. Back to Hudson-Odoi. Didn't see him much, did we, at the end of last season? Injury issues. That's really good cross, that.
It's a good ball, and that's what we want to see him doing. For me, that's when he's at his best, just getting beyond the defender and giving him the chance to get the cross in. He's got the pace to get there. It's all about the quality of the ball.
There's one to him. Brilliant ball, really difficult skill, really tough angle. Actually, the flag has gone up there, so it wouldn't have counted, but it's pretty good technique to get it that close.
To be honest, I'm not bothered about the flag. Yes, he's offside by a couple of metres, but if he pops that in, think of the confidence for Callum. That's brilliant for him. Lovely ball as well.
Tough to hit a hanging ball like that on the run. A volley.
Hardest part is staying on side.
Must be a little eager.
Yeah, it's a foul. He suggested it's shoulder to shoulder, but I don't think at all. Right into the middle of his back. Have some of that.
Yes, it was a little bargy.
I think as well, you know, from Cesar's point of view, at this stage of the game, with this heat, you know, it's going to get tougher for him. And so he doesn't want someone like Success there turning. So the last thing he wants. So on halfway, just push him over. That's experience.
Yeah, it's clever fouling. You're right, because even if Success hasn't really got the finishing boots, he does have power and strength, speed. He'd have beaten us being any sprint there for sure. Here's Hudson-Odoi. Pleased to be seeing plenty of the ball in these early minutes. It's coming on, dropping deep. Raheem Sterling here.
Yeah, I just feel the game's slowing down somewhat, isn't it? It's understandable. I guess when there's an opportunity, I mean, Udinese are still sitting quite deep and quite compact, so they're hard to break down, but...
It's the time run that by Mount. Sterling might have been offside, but Mount certainly wasn't. I like the fact Sterling looks like he's just slotted straight in. He's obviously got the pedigree to do that. People often talk about people needing time to bed in. I don't actually think that the very top players do need that, and we've seen that time and time again. And it's often used as an excuse for somebody who hasn't just got going yet because they're not playing very well.
Well, I think in some ways you could agree with that if it's a different league. So if you're coming,
or if they're 20 or 21, maybe.
Yeah, and the kids, yeah, maybe. But if you're...
So Kai Havertz, for example, coming over at 21
it was
from the Bundesliga.
quite difficult at the beginning, as we know. But I think someone like Raheem Sterling, seasoned Premier League professional, knows what it's all about, knows all the players as well. You know, England regular. It's probably a lot easier for someone like him just to slot in.
And I don't think he'd, for a second, expect to be given, give me 6 months for me to gel and all that. In comes the corner, out it goes. And I think he looks like he's been playing with Kai Havertz and Mason Mount and Toe for ages.
He'd have been embarrassed if it had taken him 6 months.
Looks like a natural fit in this fluid Chelsea attack. I think, all being well, no extraordinary curveballs or even with signings, because they might have to get bedded in and gel. I feel like it's surely going to be Mount, Havertz and Sterling as the front three at Goodison on Saturday, as long as, touch wood, everyone's okay. Well, Thomas does at the moment. But there are a few question marks otherwise.
I think there'll be a few players as well, question marks, that will say, well, you know, this looks like possibly, arguably, the strongest starting 11. But they'll be the ones that play tomorrow morning, Ben, are going to say, well, I'll show you. I mean, the likes of Conor Gallagher, for me, that type of character to say, well, if I'm here, I can do it. And I'll show you. And
Staying in that department, Mateo Kovacic.
Absolutely,
Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who had a strong end to the season. There's a lot of traffic in that central midfield. Ross Barkley's still around as well. You would think that Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher and him, that's four who aren't even involved tonight in central midfield. Here's Hudson-Odoi. Away by Neutink, although Harvey Vale got the last touch.
Just look at Udoji's defending here. That's the second time Callum's done that to him. Got beyond him. His starting position is not quite right. He's not had a bad game positionally, but when he's one-on-one, he's looked a bit susceptible.
Harvey Vale's an interesting one. I guess it might depend on if any senior or more senior attacking players depart the club, whether on loan or full-time. But Harvey's going to be 19 in, I think, about a month, start of September, if I remember rightly, his birthday is. And obviously just had a few tasters in the cup comps and even a little Premier League bow last term.
I just wonder...
Is it loan time for him this season?
I just wonder if a loan might be a better option for him. If it's not, then he's got to step up for me. You know, he's got to prove himself as much as he can in this game time that he gets right now. You know, he's got to show something, prove something. You know, we've seen the likes of Colin Gallagher go away and be absolutely different class. You know, that might do Harvey Vale the opportunity to do something similar to that. But, again, you're right, Ben, it's about signings or not signings.
Connor's had 2